Hello and welcome back to Grapple Theory. Thanks so much for joining us once again today for another exciting episode of the Grapple Theory podcast. Now today, our special guest is one of the co-founders of Catch Pro Wrestling up in Manchester, who are absolutely killing it at the moment. They had a fantastic 2021, put on loads of shows, launched a new Monday night show, 2 champions. They're doing fantastic work at the minute, and we're going to hear all about it from our special guest, who is Scott, one of the co-founders of Catch Pro. Scott, thanks so much for joining us on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's great to have you on. First of all, the reason we're here is to talk about the first Monday Night Catch Pro of the year coming up next week. Talk to us about it. Talk to us about how much you're looking forward to being back for 2022.
Yeah, very, very much. Like I think finding these Mondays is quite. We've kind of found a niche with these shows. Running the bigger shows are all well and good, but they kind of lack a certain identity that I think with these Monday shows we've really sort of found something. With the likes of Ant the Editor, the way he shoots, it looks really. It feels unique to me, and it's kind of easy for me to say that because I kind of doing the hard sell, as it were, but. Getting my friend James in, he's coming down and taking pictures, and they kind of look a bit different to sort of normal wrestling pictures because he comes from a different, he's got a different eye and he looks for it with a different lens, no pun intended. So yeah, these Monday shows are really, really something to get our teeth into, and really.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, do you find that? You find that the Monday shows have a different feel, a different vibe to your weekend shows?
Yeah, very much. I because it's a smaller venue, I actually get to see the wrestling as well, so I like it a lot. I'm not, whereas when we're using the unis, I'm running around the back, making sure people are ready to go and in place and such. So I don't actually get to watch a lot of wrestling. I've advised friends before, said if you don't want to watch wrestling, start a wrestling company. It's the quickest way to not see any anymore. But sort of with these smaller shows, because the Bread Shed, I've worked at the Bread Shed on and off for possibly a decade at this point.
Wow.
Because I kind of run the pub quiz there on a Thursday.
Gotcha.
Do the karaoke as sort of I do my real job, and then I still like working in bars and stuff. And I've always looked at the room and thought we could do something here. And then at the end of last year, my manager pulled me in. He kind of he'd been following me, so he'd seen, I think it was Catch 2, he'd seen some of the pictures and stuff and says, can you fit a ring in there? It's yeah, let's give it a shot. So we just did, and then, as I say, the rest is kind of history in this. It also helps as well, because we knew we wanted to do the Enigma-style tournament, and instead of paying 800 quid for a room, we can pay 250 quid for a room and get a drinks deal if people spend enough money. Spend loads of money because we get £50 off at a time. So,
good. Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about sort of adding that Monday show, because you had the weekend shows obviously. And let's sort of take it way back, because coming back from the pandemic, obviously you had one show before the pandemic hit, and then you came back. I imagine there must have been some sort of apprehension coming back there in terms of what you're going to expect, because obviously you're still such a new company, and yet you've been around for a year, but you'd only had one show in that time.
Yeah. So it was really, really strange in terms of we put that first show on, and it did quite well. It got, people were sort of excited and happy, and it was, people seemed to be happy. And we announced the second show. Obviously going into it, we've paid for the poster design, paid for all the posters to go out, all the adverts and stuff, and then all of a sudden lockdown happens, and people don't give you that sort of money back, so we lost deposits and stuff, so we were down about 600 quid. Probably wouldn't have survived if everybody had turned around and said we'd like our refunds back. So the support, it's just I cannot thank people enough for just being patient with us and giving us the opportunity to reschedule after the pandemic. But again, coming back after the pandemic, we were kind of panicking really, because we had sort of an idea for the 6 shows that we were hoping to do in what was it, 2019. I time makes no sense.
It's all gone, isn't it? Time is just nothing now. It's like...
So we kind of knew we wanted to do the 2 tournaments every year. It's going to be men, female, Great British Heritage is going to be men 1 year, female next, men, so on and so forth. And the Enigma was going to be vice versa. So I think when we kind of came back with a bang, and we just wanted to basically try to tell the stories and put the matches on for the 6 months that we lost. At the end of that year, we tried to compress it all into 6 weeks. Basically, I think was how it, I think it was it 10 months, and we did 6 shows. I think in 10 weeks, maybe. There was a lot. Like it was way. We got a lot on, but obviously we knew we wanted to do the catchweight belt. We wanted to do the women's title. So yeah, it was madness, utter madness. I really appreciate the break in December. At that point, after that last show. So
I imagine it's not something you'd recommend to other people, other promoters, to put on that many shows in such a short space of time.
To people with more experience than us, I can see it. I could see it, and maybe when we get the experience, again. We've done a lot of shows. We've been around for 2 years, but really we've only been promoting for 2 months in 2019, and then July onwards. So it's like 6 months.
Yeah.
So there's always an idea we might be able to pop back and try fortnightly, but at the moment we've got to pump the brakes and sort of look to do the monthly shows at the moment.
No, that's fair enough, and that makes sense. But also, you must be delighted with the response and the reaction you got, and the fact that so many people turned up to those shows so frequently, considering they were so often as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like seeing the same faces, because I've kind of said again with the not getting to watch wrestling kind of stuff, I tend to watch the crowd a lot because I need to sort of see what they're reacting to and what they're getting into, whether to beg Dynamite Lee to keep that woolly hat on because it's just working kind of thing, So it's been really, really humbling seeing the same faces every time, and just getting to recognise people and being able to say hello to folks. And at the moment we're still running 50% capacity because there's still a pandemic going on. So hopefully, this time we're just going to be able to use this to build up the trust and get people invested into the company, so that when we do decide to, start selling full houses, the demand will be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you're doing the work to do that as well, which is fantastic. And again, we gave you our promotion of the year for our recent awards because of the work you've been doing and the fact that you've grown so quickly, and you added the extra Monday shows as well. I mean, although tiring, I imagine, and just absolutely flat out, you must be delighted with how that second half of 2021 went down for you guys.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it, because when somebody messaged me and says, have you been on Twitter? And saw it, and I ended up spotting that we got that promotion of the year. I was stood with my parents and my goddaughter, my best friend James and his wife. They're in KFC queuing up, and I just come running in going, oh, look what we've got. Forgot no mask, cigarette in my hand, so I had to just turn around, run back out, put my face back on and go back in and sell them. So yeah, it was really, really appreciate that. It really made my mum's day as well. She loved it. It was great. But sorry, I missed that question then. Because,
no, it's fine. No, and we appreciate that as well, and we appreciate you, working with us and getting us involved, and also just following us as well, and we appreciate that support. But yeah, again, it was more just the fact that you must be delighted with how the year's gone, because you've done so much, and while it's been so tiring, I imagine it must be hugely rewarding to have accomplished so much in such a short space of time, considering it was only half the year really anyway.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Some of the sort of, obviously Ben's been working, because Ben does a lot of the production stuff, so he's been working really hard and try to get it all out and get it onto Power 4 TV and the YouTube stuff and make sure everyone can see it. And I think it was last Sunday think last Saturday, Sunday, last weekend, I ended up being able to sort of sit down and watch all the shows sort of sequentially, and I was just kind of like, it was weird, like real imposter complex kind of thing. It's kind of, sitting there, really appreciating just the hard work that people are putting into it, and some of their matches have been like phenomenal, like they're just like genuinely great matches, and I'm just really sort of privileged that I've been able to give people the platform to do that. There's so much work goes into putting them together, and it's like a massive, humongous team effort. But yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to be not to be too braggadocious, but if you've not seen some of the, Keenan versus Kev Lloyd, brilliant match. Like, just get on, check them out. The guys and girls are just fantastic. Like, some of the coolest people I've met. Really passionate about what they do, and it comes across on screen. I literally just find a room at a ring and then give them the opportunity to do that. And again, gratitude to people like Ant, the editor, and obviously Ben. Of course, Ben doing all the production work, is great. But yeah.
No, for sure.
Some really cool stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk to me again about, sort of going back to the beginning, that partnership that you and Ben have, and essentially why you wanted to start a wrestling company.
So me and Ben go back about 15 years now. I was working in a bar, and he came walking in a Nexus shirt one day, and I was stood there with an Edge shirt on, and we ended up just kind of hitting it off and talking about what was going on at the time. And like for years, the discussion has been like, I'd do this way, and I'd love to have seen this, and we kind of always joked about it, and for like years we'd have a laugh and a joke, and because he's a bit more of a WWE fan than I am. I prefer sort of like WCW because I'm a little bit older, and we just can I swear?
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We just kind of shoot the shit about like how cool it'd be. Sort of like 2016 when I started going to getting back into wrestling, because I had that period a lot of people kind of go through, like they love wrestling, and then life gets in the way, and then they come back to it because they're passionate about it and stuff. Started going to all the independent shows, and I'd been promoting gigs and promoting club nights, 80s nights, and just doing kind of stuff like that. And kind of the idea is just kind of, I can do that. I've definitely got transferable skills that I might be able to use, but there's stuff that I don't know that Ben will know, because Ben, with his editor work, he got work with IPW and other stuff like that. So it just, we kind of both went our separate ways, and then kind of came back together with separate skills that kind of complemented each other. And then, of course, like everybody else who helped us out, especially on that first one, couldn't have done it without them either. Yeah, kind of going forward, that's just, Ben's really good because he sees things through a lens, and how it will look, and he's really great to sort of bounce ideas off. Whereas I'm more of a live promoter. Sure. I like that live experience. He's very good at being, kind of bringing me back and saying like, "But we've got 2 cameras," it's weird, like, because you don't even think about that when you sort of start. Where are we going to get a cameraman from? And Ben's like, "Oh, I know." But yeah, it's just obviously like contacts. People like Danny Proper, Kelly Van Ness have been really like great in putting us in touch with people who can help us out and kind of direct us. And we can find you a ring. Oh, we know somebody who does, a medic.
All about who you know.
It very much seems that way. Yeah. Yeah.
No, for sure. And it's like you said with, having those different viewpoints, like you said with having Ant on board as well. Fantastic filmmaker, incredible stuff. Mm-hmm. And your photographer as well, you say, comes from sort of like a different background. And that's good because you get those different eyes on it, you get those different opinions, and you can see those different ways that people see live events and live wrestling that you might not see yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, very much. Like, because pardon me, because if it was up to me, it'd look like WCW Saturday Night from 92, 93, because that's that's the kind of stuff I'm well into. And obviously, again, live promoting. I know posters. I know going around and throwing out flyers and such like that. So it's Ben is a lot better at social media than I am. So he's very good at getting onto the kind of the stuff with Twitter. But it's people like my mum. She'd never been to wrestling before. She comes down and sees it and is like, oh, I like that, but why did this happen? And you kind of like, well, if I have to explain it to her, I've kind of got it wrong.
Yeah.
So you can. It's really, it's a bit strange. But there's been like 20 years of like wrestling being this way. Which is, the stuff with the freeway dance, people, when we put the freeway dances on, people didn't quite get on board with that because they've not seen it since 99.
Yeah.
So a lot of younger people don't understand why. I mean, that might be assumptuous of me, but...
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, it's something that hasn't been seen for a while, and so that younger generation that, who might not have seen it or aren't as aware of it, or the more casual fan might be like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, so that's, again, that's kind of a blessing that we've got in terms of that we do see stuff a little bit differently sometimes,
yeah.
I think.
No, but that's good, isn't it? Like that's the thing as well. I was going to come on to this later, but there's so many great indie promotions in Brit Wres at the minute. You got the likes of, obviously the big ones, like Progress and like even like Rev Pro. But you've got, the likes of TNT and... what is it in Bournemouth, Ignite, and Jurassic Pro just launched, and Wrestle Carnival. Yeah. And you've got so many of these great, like, young, fresh startup promotions. Obviously, TNT's been going a bit longer. But you've got to make something different, don't you, with everything? Wrestle Island as well. Each promotion has that thing that makes them a little bit different. And that's what you need, because there's so many similar stars appearing on each one that you need that thing that makes you stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. The stuff with, I go watch Future Shock and I go watch TNT when I can, and get out to all these. So I see the folks that I'm booking work. I see 2-Bit is like a perfect example. He's booed everywhere else. Like in the bread shed, everyone goes nuts for him. Like it's cheering. So it's great because, like you say, it's different, and that's we can't be bigger than the Progress. We've not got the reach or the experience of some other companies, but you can be a little bit different. You can try something new.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to make yourself stand out, don't you? That's what's important.
Yep.
And obviously, we're chatting in a minute. The reason, obviously, I messaged you to get you on before Feb 7th is because of your comeback show, first show of 2022. Absolutely stacked card as well, might I say.
Crazy,
incredible. Obviously, all the talk was last week when you announced that it's going to be Lizzy Evo against Emilia McKenzie, which is like huge. That's a great match to have on. I think a lot of people as well were a bit like, like Emilia's back on indie shows. Obviously, with as much as you can tell us in terms of, I appreciate there's certain things you might not be able to say, but like, how long had that been in the works for? How did that come about?
So we initially made contact for Catch 2. I remember we were looking to book her for Catch 3 to come in, pardon me, and do some stuff. And then obviously with the COVID and the WWE doing the restrictions, it kind of fell through. But basically, we just got to a point where we were like, we could do a cool match, something a bit different. So we just reached out and asked. It's funny because it was literally just, are you available to work this date? Let me check. I can work this date. So he's like, oh, brilliant. Let's see what we can do and put together.
Amazing. That's fab. And it's something that's really special as well, I think, for fans as well, because obviously she's announced for for Eve as well the weekend, over the weekend. And so I think for fans, especially, London and Manchester, two different parts of the country, to be able to come down and see her back on the Indies is going to be really special.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Great. I've not, because I don't follow NXT UK that often, so I've not seen it for a while. So it's going to be exciting to get down, and yeah, I've always got to be careful because I don't want to give away too much in terms of what we're expecting, but I'm expecting a good match.
For sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you put those two together, it's definitely going to be a good match. No matter what else you've got planned, it's going to be a great match.
I know.
But I mean, we've got to shout out your champ at the minute as well, then, don't we, Lizzy? I mean, she's fantastic. She's had an incredible 2021, and it looks like she's just set to continue that. And you guys have obviously booked her fantastically and really pushed her well. I mean, what can you say about her and her style and why you guys are such big fans of her over at Catch?
I remember because when we were going to do when I was going to watch just before the pandemic, when I was watching the indie shows, Lizzy just always stood out to me as just being someone who had it just in terms of really being able to rile people up. But then you see her at a different place and people just well into what she does between the ropes. I do think she's the best at the moment. I think there's so many people that are nipping on her heels, and just the level of talent, especially in the sort of female talent in the UK alone, is I'd put it up there with most divisions. And when you look at the likes of a Rio, and who else we've got Clementine's coming up, and Ivy's brilliant. And, Lucy is learning every time you see her. She's better. And then to say I do think Lizzy's the best is not a knock on anyone else, because it's just the best. I genuinely think we've got the best female talent here. It's just that Lizzy's got something different that she stands out.
And I think as well for you guys it sort of works perfectly, but I mean, is there any little conflict having a Scouser as the champ and a Manchester promotion? Is there that little rivalry there?
Yeah, very much. We did get there was a couple of tweets where we were asked it was almost suggested that we were kind of encouraging that, but that wasn't the case until people started booing her. Then we were like, what we need to do is we need to just jump on this and sort of ride it, with the Lizzy Championship celebration. So yeah, I mean, it helps, doesn't it? If people, I don't follow football, I don't really know I don't quite have the same passion against Liverpool fans as a lot of people do. But if it's gonna boo people, if it's gonna encourage people to boo it, then just let her have it, because she'll just give it you back.
I was going to say then, in terms of if you're not such a football fan, it was the celebration, was the singing and all that, was the You'll Never Walk Alone, was that Lizzy's idea, or?
Lizzy and Ben came to me with it, and I just watched it and was like, I don't understand what's going on here, but let's do it. It's going to be great.
You were like, you'll have to trust them, because you didn't quite understand this. You had to trust that they knew it would get the heat.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I say to people all the time, when I book bands, I don't tell them what songs to play, so I like to give sort of wrestlers as much freedom as I can, in terms of just saying this is what I want to achieve. Can you do it? And they can go out and do it, and it's working for us, because I don't know, it's almost like if you let wrestlers wrestle, it works kind of thing. So
exactly, you don't need to overbook anything. You know that you can, especially with the talent we've got here at the minute, you can trust that these guys are going to be able to go out and know what's going to get over, know what's going to get them heat, and know what's going to work with certain crowds.
Yeah, absolutely do. Again, it's the sort of flavouring as well. It's like if you some guys are great at getting under people's skin and riling them up. Zaya Quinn, and some people you don't need to tell that story. You just put Chris Ridgway in there and say just do what you do.
Yeah.
So that kind of works in that sort of sense.
No, for sure, for sure. As we've given Lizzy a shout out, we've got to give out a shout out to a couple of other people on who are really shining at catch. Let's talk about Tom Thelwell for our first, your first Catchweight Champion. I mean, the Catchweight series, that was really impressive. Like the whole Enigma series, it was really great, really well done. And like you say, it really sort of gave birth to that Monday Night Catch Pro that you were running. So how long, again, similarly, how long had that been in the works to have that Enigma series event? You mentioned at the beginning you wanted to run it, but sort of when did you sort of slate Tom for being like, this is the guy we want to push, and how impressed were you with how that whole Enigma series went overall?
I remember answering a tweet when I was asked, like, if you were going to start a wrestling company, who would be the first pick? And my first pick was James Greenwood. Second pick was Tom Thelwell, and the reason I chose Tom Thelwell was because I saw him on an indie show. I think it might have been Ignition, and I remember texting Ben. This was before we'd made an idea, like we're going to try and do this. I remember texting him saying, "I've just seen this Tom Thelwell kid. He's gone for 3 pinfall attempts in the first 30 seconds. It's fucking brilliant. Like, it was just invested. Like, he just looked like he wanted to win a wrestling match." So yeah, like I was a big fan of Tom before we put the show together. Put him with Chris Brooks in the first show, and obviously, doing the kind of pre-show stuff with Kev, because we kind of knew where it was going at that point. So we was just trying to, like, obviously take people on the ride and bring them up with him in that sort of sense. But yeah, he's. We're hoping to introduce more titles, but we knew instantly who were going to wear those 2 belts first. We knew kind of who we wanted to represent the company in that sort of sense. But yeah, he is class with Tom Thelwell.
Oh, for sure. Again, you must be. It must sort of really back up that opinion that you have in terms of when you run a tournament series and you see him in those matches and he's sort of giving back every single night. And you're like, we made the right call here, putting the belt on this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, with Kev Lloyd winning 3 matches in that tournament and Tom Thelwell winning 3 matches in that tournament, they might have to have that rubber match at some point as well. So, we've definitely got plans to see how far Tom can take us.
Fab. Yeah, we'd love to see that rubber match, like you say. I think it's got to happen somewhere down the line. And the final name I was going to bring up was the one that I think probably just gives everyone the most banter on Twitter, which is the queen of the pre-show, which is Lucia Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine that probably wasn't something that was a planned thing to have her become this sort of status of like the pre-show god. But she's really sort of taken that in her stride and worked with it and built it into like what she's doing at Catch.
I mean, I don't know. It might have just happened accidentally. Might be part of a longer story that's being told. But totally invested in running with it. This year's another one that I'm a big fan of. I can't wait to see if she actually gets off the pre-show at some point. That'd be interesting.
That's the build, isn't it? That's what you want, isn't it? That's brilliant, amazing.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That got us in so much trouble again. Like people asking, "Oh, why do you have a pre-show when you don't even have a live show?" It's just like, come on, just like give us a couple more weeks and then we'll have this discussion afterwards. But let's see if it works or not first.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's not just Catch, but a lot of places do that, and a lot of places get like this is so weird. Why is there a pre-show? Like, why not just have it on the show?
Yeah, as I said to Ben, we call it the pre-show because the match that we put on YouTube to promote the show that will be on Power T4 TV when it's a bit of a long title. Pre-show just feels a bit more snappy, should we say?
Yeah,
bit catchy.
Yeah, exactly. That thing, like, again, like you see it, again, big shows like whatever, pay-per-views, WWE or whatever, their pre-show and they have a match on there. And they normally give that away free because they want that to draw you in. And it's similar, isn't it? Because you're just filming that to, like you say, put it out for free to be like, come and watch us on Powered 4 because you'll get more of this.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of think that's kind of that sort of WWF have been around for a long time mentality. That there was pre-shows sort of before WWE did their pre-show live on the network and sort of thing. But because people kind of associate that with as a WWE show, I might be wrong. It's kind of my opinion, but I think people might look at it through that WWF lens, whereas to us it's just like I say, it's just a story. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it's just a thing, isn't it? It's just a thing that you're doing. Like, it doesn't have to be a deeper meaning behind it or anything. Like,
no.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll go back. Obviously, we spoke about Lizzy and Emilia. So we'll go back and talk about the rest of your Bridgehead show. First Catch Pro show of the year. You again, just overall, you must be really excited to be getting back to it. Absolutely stacked card again, like I said. You must be buzzing to get it going now.
Yeah, I am, especially with the sort of lineup that we've put together, like with Brady versus Dynamites. Cannot wait for that match. Obviously, Scotty and Tom Thelwell is going to be.
That was the one I looked at when you announced it. And was like, before you'd announced Lizzy Evo, that was the one I looked at, and I was like, oh, that could tempt me to make a trip. Like, if I didn't have work the next day, that would be.
Yeah, we kind of get that with the Monday shows. We kind of get the people like. Obviously, people aren't going to be able to travel quite as much as they would if it was on a weekend, which is why we're still going to do the Saturday shows. Sunday shows, we've got one Sunday booked that we've not announced yet.
Right.
But that does, that's obviously an issue, and we're trying to streamline it so we can get like, 10:30 finishes I think is what we've been hitting at the moment. But obviously we try to stream that a bit, and that'll come with experience. We'll be able, book cards better. But like sometimes it's just the match is just when it hits, it just kind of hits, and people kind of get absorbed and they forget about the time. But obviously we've tried building Scotty and Tom up. I can't wait to just let them loose and see what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, we sort of mentioned the quality of the card, because it seems like, again, in 2021, you guys were having such really high quality cards, great matches. Is there ever like a thing in the back of your mind that's like, oh, how are we going to top that on the next show, like with a card in terms of like the matches you've had?
Not yet. Probably will be. No, I've thought about it, but no, it's when I get Alex right, that's when it's going to be, I'm going to be like, oh, how can I, this is my favourite wrestler ever, how can I top this kind of thing? That might be the ceiling. But because we I don't know, we kind of know what we want to do. We've got the ideas, and we don't really, I've never sort of sat down and says like, because I don't look at them as individual, this is a standout card. I'm going to put together a standout card. It's like, how can I, I'm really enjoying it. How can I prolong it? How can I make it last? And that's, everyone's getting excited for the February show. And in my mind, I'm like, March. So it's weird.
I was going to say, how far ahead are you? Is that how far you're always a month ahead in terms of in your mind? You're always looking to that next bit before the next one's gone, or are you further ahead than that?
So we're further ahead than that. We're confirming bookings for the next two shows, but I kind of know. I kind of know where I'm going with the stuff that I'm doing. I think Ben's pretty much the same with sort of his ideas. He kind of knows in advance, but yeah, I just want to. It's confirming people for March that we can then get it down and get it sent off and stuff. But in terms of the promo, we need to sort of tell people weeks in advance. So we're always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
In that sort of sense, but yeah, because it was like those last 6 weeks, the whole Enigma series was we've kind of been sat on it for 18 months, so it's kind of worked that way. Booking 4 shows at a time in terms of what we've got in our heads, as it were.
Yeah, for sure. And you something a little different that I want to move on to is the fact that like the North like scene just on its own, if you were to separate it from the South of Brit Rest, is just absolutely on fire at the minute on its own. Like there's so much good wrestling going on, so many good shows. And we've asked a few wrestlers about this, but like, do you see there being like an almost North-South divide in Brit Rest in terms of, I guess, who gets booked more for more shows and like, you know, the way you put on shows and I guess just generally like that, is there a little, again, like almost like we mentioned the Manchester Liverpool thing, is there a little almost rivalry sort of do you see that brews between the North and the South about like, you know, who can do it better?
I mean, so my kind of theory is it that I'm more aware of the stuff that's going on in the North, and that's why the South doesn't seem to have quite as much going on. But
bring it, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's actually bad humour. Don't worry about it. But,
no, it's fine. I understand.
There's loads of good stuff. There's loads of great stuff going on down south. But you know, Future Shock's been around for a while. TNT's been around for a while. But the bigger companies have always seemed to be kind of down south. So you know, if there's a chip on the shoulder up north at the moment, then fair play, like that's what we want to do. But you know, in terms of like a rivalry of that sense, it's a lot cheaper to book great talent from the north than it is to sort of pull them from Scotland or from down south at times.
No, for sure.
Not that we won't. We have before, and we've got this great talent, you know, further north and down south that we would love to get in at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we sort of like did a sort of like fancy booking type thing. I think something that we did in an interview with Alexis Falcon sort of triggered it. Of like, it would just be great to see a North versus South Brit Rest show that could showcase everyone on one card. Yeah,
that's we kind of have a weird. We've got a weird idea similar to that concept, but it's not North and South. But indeed, yeah, I'd buy tickets for that.
Yeah, I think it'd be great, wouldn't it? Just showcase everyone, because that's what you don't get to see, isn't it? Like that's the thing is, like, obviously I'm London based, so most of the shows I go to are London or like Midlands that are easy to get to. But like, you know, up north is great, and it's something that I want to get to more this year. But it's the case, isn't it, that you sort of you know that area because of who you see, because of those people that get booked. But it'd be great to have a card that just features everyone. You can see all that talent at once.
Yeah, well, I mean, Heidi Katrina, like you know. Heidi Katrina's been up for a few of our shows now, from down south. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, again, just great in between the ropes and just looks the part. You know, she looks like she'd rip your head off.
And she could. That's the thing. Just lie. She easily could. Yeah.
See, there's some great talent that we use from sort of further down south. There is some that we'd like to. I can't really say names because I don't want to disappoint people. I don't want to see those Catch Pro Wrestling confirmed AEW style name. But there is definitely a lot of people that we've got our eyes on.
And in terms of, I was going to ask you about that. In terms of like, if we were to put out one, and this is for you personally, not like as a at Catch, but not as a sort of Catch, not you're speaking on behalf of Catch, as a you personally sort of thing. If I were to say, you know, like travel's no object, you can go like America or Japan or Australia or whatever, and like money's no object. Is there like one match that you'd like be like, you know, this is the match I would love to book in terms of indie wrestling?
So I'm always going to come back to Alex Wright versus Chris Egan because like I just it's God, Alex Wright's so good. You know, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Alex Wright. You know, there is one I don't particularly want to say because I'm confident I'll go back to it at some point and we'll be able to put it together.
Really? Okay. Yeah, we don't want to give that away then.
So that's it's a strange. It's really strange. In terms of like No, I'll think of something else if you could.
No, it's fine. No. But that's the thing. Like, Alex Chris would be a great match just first off, and like that must be quite a cool feeling as well as like someone who's grown up a wrestling fan who now has a promotion to like think about these dream matches, and then in the back of your mind to be thinking, what, I could pull that off. Like this could happen, and I could get to see that.
I mean, Thunder Rosa, Lizzy Evo. I'd kill to see that match.
Oh yeah, that would be cracking. Yeah. That would be fantastic. Yeah. See, you've got me wanting that now. That's the match that everyone deserves to see.
This is the problem with when you say this now, because now I'm like,
there's too many
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, there's too many dream matches. I always put people on the spot with that sort of one. Be right there. There's too many dream matches that we could book. But I mean, let's look ahead in terms of like as we're winding down here. Let's look ahead to the rest of this year. And if we were having this chat, say in December or January of next year, and I were to ask, how was your 2022? What do you think for you personally, again, would constitute a successful year for Catch Pro?
So, obviously I'd like the restrictions, fingers crossed, the pandemic, we all stay safe and we all kind of look after ourselves, can get the restrictions lifted. And, at this time next year, I'd like to be filling the bread shed regularly on a Monday. I think that would be, kind of fantastic. I'd really love to see someone not so much get signed, but do well, off the back of us. I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like someone that you've championed go on to get signed or do something really big.
Yeah, so that'd be really cool. And remember us and come back when they're
the top champ.
Millions of people, like seeing someone on an AEW or a WWE show again would be pretty cool. That's kind of we've pushed. I'd like to find new talent as well. The guys in the crew, I'd like to see them do really well, because they deserve it. They're really cool and they're getting better every time. Lucia as well. Let's see. I'm looking forward to seeing, how she grows and develops. I'd like to be talking about that great Alex Wright match that happened in Catch that time. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I just hope, I hope we're on the right trajectory.
And it certainly looks like you are. It really does. Like you guys are doing such great work and you're really pushing on. And like just again, that whole back after 21, it just seemed like you grew and grew and grew. I mean, is that something you feel now though? Do you feel like more confident in that ability and what you're doing and that, you can put on these successful shows? Do you feel like that's grown as well, your confidence in?
Yeah. There's still room for growth. I really like to do that kind of show where I kind of step away and I'm like, yeah, I did that, kind of thing, as opposed to being like, how the fuck did I do that? Like, kind of. So that'd be interesting. I can't wait for that show. Other than that, it's getting the 10,000 hours in, isn't it? And just getting the experience and just keep doing it. And as I say, just building up the trust and, hopefully giving people stories in the matches that make them want to come back and watch us. Because that's basically all we can hope for, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see these two people in a match against each other. Fingers crossed there's like a couple of hundred people out there that would feel the same way in that sort of sense. So, yeah, man, I'd love to be able to sort of step back and be like, yeah, that was easy, that, but it's a bit stressful.
No, I can imagine.
It's good though.
For sure. And in terms of like, again, like you say, sort of those sort of moments, if we were to go back again to last year, are there any sort of like, obviously you had a great year overall, but like, are there any sort of standout moments for you in your mind that you're like, that just took you aback? Like whether it's matches or just moments during a show or something like that?
Ethan Allen, Ridgeway. That was like, I forgot I was supposed to be putting a show on. I was just stood there listening to what was going on. So that was magic, and those guys coming on board and, coming down and saying, yeah, we'll come and work for this. Because again, it's really weird because we're not established and not proven. So the fact that people are taking risks on us is really it's really humbling in that sort of sense. So it's, guys like them coming down and being like, putting on, you saw the chests afterwards and you saw the bruises. And so that was like, that was kind of the moment where I was like, oh, we've done something here. This is really cool. So yeah, that's definitely the standout match I think of last year for me personally.
Yeah, it's a great show, and yeah, it's great when you can have that feeling, and that again, those wrestlers are backing you. Although you're the one booking them on the show, you're the one giving them that payday. They're backing you by giving them that confidence, being like, we trust you to book this right, and this to be a promotion that we want to work for.
Yeah, the noise when JJ hit Chantel Jordan with that bum bag. I've never heard anything like it was crazy. It was crazy. Like that was my mum was just so disappointed in you because you knew what was going on, didn't you? I was like, nope, that had nothing to do with me, Mum. But it's funny. It was great. It was just wicked to sort of be there and like just kind of see that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the two my two standout moments from what 6 months.
Nice, and again, you talk about the people who are there seeing it, but something else we've mentioned sort of in passing a lot in this chat is Powered 4 TV and the fact that you guys are on there, and the fact that people can watch you on there if they can't, like myself or something. If you can't make it to the show, you can still see all the content that's going on. And that's one of the things that Powered 4 are doing really well in terms of highlighting Brit Rest really well, being able to get these smaller shows onto a platform where people can see them openly.
Yep, and it's not expensive, and the what they offer, the range of shows that they offer is just it's great. It's really one hell of a deal, and they're working hard, getting sort of together with people and pacing releases and stuff. So it's not like they're not dropping say like us and a TNT at the same time, and really, really, really looking after us. And for them to take a chance on us after our second show, because we popped it on, we're saying we've got to put it on YouTube because it's a really cool thing. This women's tournament was ace, and we kind of want to put it out there so everybody can see it, and them saying, yeah, we'll still do the deal and we'll put it on our show as well, but that's fine. So I do highly suggest people jump onto that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, Scott, I really appreciate your time in chatting to us today. It's been great having you on, great talking about Catch, and obviously we're looking forward to all the great stuff that's to come for you this year. At the end of each of our chats with wrestlers, we always give them a bit of promo time. So I think it would be unfair to not give you the same. So it's real simple. If anyone watches this or sees a poster for Catch or checks you out on Powered 4 or on YouTube and thinks, oh, you know what, like I might go down to that, why should people come and check out Catch Pro in 2022?
Why should people come? So we've got a lot going on. We've got a lot planned. As I say, we try to be different. We listen to people. We saw the match that you asked for on Twitter, and it's coming. I'm not going to say when, but it's coming soon. I think, I don't want to humble brag, but we're doing some really cool stuff. So come down, join us. We look forward to seeing you down there at catchprowrestling.co.uk for tickets. You can buy physical tickets at the bread shed, just because they used to like my books with all my tickets in. But yeah, we've got some good plans. Get on board now, because you don't want to be jumping on the bandwagon later on and I don't know, is this working?
Yeah, no, that's working fine. No, I get that as well. You want to be part of it now, like, you know, because then when you guys inevitably are huge, it's going to be like, I was there at the beginning, yeah, that sort of thing.
What you want.
I love what you guys do with the physical tickets as well, because so many things are e-tickets now, or like you print it off, and it just doesn't have that same feel. To actually have a proper ticket is something that's rare nowadays.
Yeah, but it's just like I say, I just missed the physical tickets, so I wanted them. But yeah, this is Nirvana Bleach era, I'm telling you.
Amazing.
I almost said that like I believed it.
There are a lot of people that won't get that reference, though.
Yeah, possibly.
But no, that's brilliant. And yeah, again, fantastic work you guys are doing, and thanks so much for coming on and chatting to us about it.